What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Shiba Inu today. This one comes to us at the request of Mr. Apache Garage and Kevin White. Apache, you are the one that recommended this first. Kevin, thank you for reminding me today or yesterday. I don't know when you wrote that comment, but I meant to do this one, man. I honestly forgot. I'm sorry. But here we are. Looking at it on the monthly, I'm on the Poloniex chart because, to my knowledge, this has the most historical data available on TradingView, so that's why we're using it. I do want to see August of 2022. Let me see real quick. Yeah, so this, you see, this is August of 2022 on Binance, and then this is August of 2022 on Poloniex. I would disregard this down move. Poloniex is a low volume exchange, guys, and things like this happen. Things like this happen for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it does happen. I think this is a glitch. I don't think someone actually bought and sold down here. I mean, they could have, but I doubt that. I think it was a glitch. Looking at the price, you know, going from like this last low to the high, we bounced off of this 100 area. We're actually closing above the 886, and this month actually we kind of went down to it and bounced off of it. Looking at the weekly, you had a little fake out. You closed below it, closed right back above it. You've been holding support ever since. I would expect that this is the low. I don't think that Shiba goes lower than that. It could. It very well could. You know, looking at it on the monthly, seeing it reject this 618 a couple times, a few times even, I'm kind of inclined to believe actually that, you know, and I say reject, but it's like you came down from it here. It's like you found support, but to the downside. So I kind of am inclined to believe that you might see these extensions, either be it the 1272 or the 1618. That is possible. Although I don't know, man. I feel like this definitely does look good on the weekly and on the daily. You can kind of see that you're holding this 886 rather nice. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's hard to say. Let's see if we can figure it out without the fibs and just go from there. Right now on the monthly on the RSI, you are below the 50. You do have a lower low in the RSI paired with a lower low in the price. This is bearish convergence. Just, you know, showing that this is a move down. We definitely could go lower from here. I don't think it's go time one way or another, whether we do take the slow out or not. I do think that we could go lower from here, but I want to see actually with this fib, maybe from low to high. Bounced off the 1414, finding resistance on the 886. This is classic. Right here, seeing a move like this, then resisting the 886. This would imply that you do go lower, but we'll see. We'll see. Being that we're done with the monthly, I think I'm actually going to use the Binance chart just because it's got a lot. It doesn't have the most historical data, but it does have a lot, and I feel like, you know, it's going to be more accurate price action. There's more volume. Binance, for those of you who don't know, who've been living under a rock, Binance is the biggest crypto exchange in the world, so they're going to have the most volume, so I feel like the moves are going to be a little bit more backed, if that makes sense. They're going to be more legitimate, to me at least. That's how I logic. That's how I use logic for that. I don't know. You can see from low to high here, we actually bounced off the 1272, and we are finding resistance on the 886 here as well. Very classic behavior whenever you want to go lower, actually. So I would say I'm starting to think that this low does not hold. Ultimately, Shiba Inu does go lower than this, which from the current price would be a, you know, more than a 30% drop at a minimum, and likely if you break this 1272, I mean, your chances of bouncing here are still there. Chances, I wouldn't say likelihood. Chances, you know, but the more likelihood I think would be that you go down maybe 40% around the 1414 here, or the 1618, which is about a 50% drop. That is possible. It doesn't have to happen in a week. In fact, it looks like Shiba's been moving down for quite a while, right? You've had this like little range, and you've been moving down now, but not dramatically, not fast. Not every week is like this week here, you know. And generally, whenever you get these weeks, they're far and few in between. You know, they don't happen all the time, and generally it is sometime afterwards that you see another week like that. So I wouldn't expect to see a dramatic drop anytime soon, though it could happen. You know, we are in the lower parts of the RSI right now. We are below the 40, which is the bearish control zone, right? If you're below the 40 on the RSI, if you're somewhere in this kind of area, this is the bearish control zone. This is the oversold zone, and I mean overall, it's all the bearish control zone. You know what I mean? But that's technically what this this would be classified as. And if you're rejecting this, kind of 40 area, you don't even have to go up to it, but rejecting this area isn't a good look. It's not encouraging, that's for sure. It's an area that you've rejected before, you found support on before. I would say that this, even though it's a little bit below the 40, that this is somewhat significant. So, you know, we do have 2 days, 20 hours left, essentially 3 days left. More than enough time for this thing to move up a little bit. But at the current moment, I don't like the way this RSI looks. Let's see how it looks at the end of the week. If we were to move up from here, let's see. I don't know, man. I don't know. If we were to move up from here, I would think that we might have a nice pop. Let's see. You know, all the way up to the 618, maybe a 35% move or something like that. That is possible. You could even go past that, maybe a 40 or 50% move, but you came up and you are holding this 382 as resistance. You definitely are. So, and it's a previous area of support right here, kind of a previous area of support over here. Yeah, you are. I don't like the look of it. The more that I look at it, and that doesn't mean that I think Shiba's going to zero, guys. I do think, you know, looking back at a macro perspective here, going from the last cycle's highs, you know, I mean, in this month it grew 830%. Okay. It grew 830%. That's a 9, almost a 9.5x. If it does go lower than here, you know, something that I like to do with fibs, and this is not a good practice. Do not bet the house on this. Do not bank your money on this. But sometimes it works, and whenever you're kind of guessing where the price could go, it might help a little bit. But you know, if I draw this fib here, when I do expect that we are going to go lower, you can see that there's not really, to me, it's not a whole lot of relevance. You kind of have a little bit of relevance on the 236, you know, a couple times on the 382, but I don't know. Like, I guess there's somewhat of significance here, but to me, I feel like if you were to go lower, maybe this would make more sense, right? You've got support on the 236 here. You've got resistance on the 382, clear resistance, you know, closing resistance at the 0.618, and then like stuff like that. This would all happen before the anchor, so it's not legitimate. This is why I say don't bet the house on this. But this could be a good method of kind of measuring the potential low. And then again, let's just see, I don't know, from top to bottom here, you know, that this line right here, I know it looks confusing, guys, but the line, if I was to draw a line where here, let me make it less confusing real quick. So if I were to draw a line on that 1618 there, maybe actually this is what I should do. So I know that I have the exact same one. Let me see here. How do I make you invisible? I don't know. We'll just take it off the monthly and then I'll bring it back, I guess. So if I was to draw a line right here at the 1618, right there, and then delete this fib, because this is from the bottom to top of this range, this is the extension that we might be projecting right now. If I was to do that and then I go to the weekly, so I got this fib back, you can see that the bottom of the fib where I was guesstimating, where I said that it looked like it was going to go, I'll bring it back out to the monthly so it's a little bit easier to see. You know, this is right around the white line, which again is the 1618 from bottom to top here. And again, this kind of lines up well. Let's see if we bring it up even. I mean, whatever. It's possible that price could go below the 1618. It doesn't need a bottom exactly there. It could wick below it. So yeah, this is, you know, I don't think that that's any coincidence. This actually could be a very likely bottoming zone somewhere around, what would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros, I think. Right? 1, 2, 3. That's 5 zeros, 376, something like that. Maybe, you know, 5 zeros, 3, 8, something like that around there. This white line is at 5 zeros, 0.4. So I would say anywhere maybe from like 5 zeros and 4 to 5 zeros and 3.5, maybe. That could be a potential bottoming range. With a pretty decent chance, honestly. I would even say likely. But it could go lower than that. It could not go that low. You know, who really knows? This is just projecting, and that's exactly why I say don't bet everything you've got on that, because it's just kind of assuming. You know what I mean? So let's see here. And I mean, I still do think. I mean, I like the way that this looks. Honestly, I would think that you have a decent chance of going here. On this chart, it'll look like you're going to new all-time lows. But I mean, again, if we go to Shiba, go to Poloniex, where are we at here? All the way down here. You know, it wouldn't be all-time lows to go to. Come on now. You would not be at all-time lows to go to the 1618 at all. You know, you've been lower before. You could even go back down to these areas. You could go lower even, but I would expect, just the way that you're reacting with this fib, I would expect that you do find significance on the 0.618. If not, the 1414. That's totally possible. But enough of that. Enough of the whatever that is. Enough looking at the fibs. I want to see what we're doing on a shorter term time frame. Maybe using the RSI. So on the weekly, we do have hidden bearish divergence where you've got higher highs in the RSI, but you do not have higher highs in the price. Actually, you've got like basically a double top along with like a tweezer top here. So I would think that this does imply that we go lower. At the bare minimum, you would test kind of the lows of this range, but just with everything that's going on, you know, this looks like lower highs, lower lows. I would expect that you are making your way to your next lower low. And let's see if that reflects in the immediate term time frame. Let's see here. So you are below the 50 on the long-term RSI. You're below the purple line. You're actually kind of close to it for how far away you are from the 50. So I would think that you do go lower than this here. It kind of looks like you had to move down. This is just consolidation. And generally, whenever you have a move down, your consolidation is to the opposite side, right? You don't consolidate further down; you consolidate the opposite direction. And with this double top, man, it almost kind of looks like an M. And it's kind of crazy because sometimes these M's, they have little W's in between them, right? And you get your double top like that. I've noticed this before. It's kind of weird. I feel like it looks like a bow and arrow. I've even called it the bow and arrow before in a couple like Discord chats, but I've never called it the bow and arrow here. But I don't know if there's a proper name for this besides the bow, or like the bow. I don't know. It just, to me, it reminds me of like a bow. I don't know. It would look like you're going that way, but really you're going to go the opposite way. It's the reverse bow and arrow. I don't know. And that's generally how it is whenever you see this, even if it's on the bottom. If you get this like M pattern down here, and then like a W, it's instead of going down this way, you would go up. Anyways, enough theory. Let's see here. Let's get into the facts. Okay, so I mean, you can see on the RSI, you can definitely see that at least since February, you've had a hard time staying in the bullish control areas. You've been rejecting them quite immediately as soon as you get into them, actually. And you have no problem getting oversold. So this to me tells me that the bears are in control. And again, you know, if it's not obvious, you're having lower highs and lower lows. That should be obvious enough too. Paired with the fact that you are this low on the long-term RSI and below the purple line. Purple line slanted down. You don't have any volume. This is the biggest exchange in the world, guys. You don't have any volume at all. There's no interest in buying this thing down here. So, you know, probably gonna wait to go lower before you see more interest. Yeah. But I mean, you don't have to, but I would expect that you do. But let's see here. On the current this current point in time, I can't talk today, man. You are bouncing off the 50, which is not a bad look. You're kind of bouncing off an area that you've rejected before, that you've bounced before. You even bounced off it over here. So you might be making a move up. You could even be forming an ascending triangle, because it definitely has that look. Don't get me wrong. Definitely does have that look. You might be forming an ascending triangle of sorts. Generally, these things are bottoming patterns, and that would imply that you go up. They are inherently bullish. I think to like a 60% or like a 58% degree. Actually, you know what? Let's go on the pattern site right now. Let's see what Thomas Bulkowski has to say about this. Chart patterns. If you guys don't know the pattern site, man, pattern site's great. If you want to learn how to trade or do anything, type in thepatternSite.com. It's free. Thomas Bulkowski's the man. He is an old man, very well-respected trader in the trading world, and he's documented every single trade, not just every single trade, but any pattern that he's identified since like the 60s, man, or maybe a little bit later. I don't know. He's been doing it for quite a long time. It's pretty crazy. Maybe not the 60s, but But you can see here patterns 8, patterns 8, and then this one's 4/14/2023. Market overview 7/14/2023. It's the 20th today, so he updates this thing quite frequently, actually. Chart patterns. Let's go to ascending triangle. Ascending triangle. Ascending scallops. Ascending triangle busted. We'll look up the busted. So what I like about this site, this website here, is he does give you a percentage, like the likelihood that it'll break to the upside or downside. You know, you see here rise. Let's see, show price rising 49% after. Okay, no, that's not the kind of percentages I'm looking for. Okay, here we go. Breakout upwards 63% of the time and 64% of the way to the triangle to the apex. Okay, so right here it says 63% of the time, so definitely over half you are likely to break upwards. 60, and then most of the time you do it, let's see, of the time, and 64% of the way through the triangle's apex. So the apex, drawing it like this, would be somewhere over here. The way that you would measure that, you know, from I guess start here to the end, you've got 62 bars, so you would just take 64% of 62, which I'm not going to do that math right now. My brain is dead, man. It's the end of the day for me. So if we go to 62, nope, no, 62. Why won't it let me? Okay, you know what? Screw calculator.com. This is why I don't like calculator, man. Calculator.com, you need to get your shit together. 62 times 0.64 to make it 64%, right? That would be 39.68, so about 40. So if we were to go to 40 bars, that would put us basically right around where we are now. And this is on a daily perspective. So any day now, we could actually be looking to break out of this thing, whether it's to the upside or the downside, with the likelihood being to the upside. But there is the chance that it could be busted. There is a chance that it could also go to the downside. There's a, you know, like a 40 or a 30, that would be a 37% chance that we go to the downside. Busted would mean that you break up, you have a fake out, and then you come down afterwards. That's what. So busted doesn't necessarily mean that you are you're gonna go, or maybe, I don't know. Maybe it means you could go down and then go up. I don't know. Double bust is what this guy's calling it. You know, I don't know everything about every single chart pattern. You know, this guy has definitely put the time in, and he's got a lot of experience. So there's definitely some stuff on here that I'm not familiar with either. But apparently this is a busted ascending triangle. I mean, it comes down, but then you had a bullish break anyways. I don't know. This isn't what I thought it would be, so I'm not going to read that. I mean, if we see something like that, we can go off it. But the main thing is, I do think that we're going to see a break of this pattern any day now. It doesn't have to be on this 40. It could happen later. It's totally possible, you know. But we are getting toward the end of the pattern, so it's likely going to break one way or another. And looking at the way that the RSI is, this doesn't look half bad. You know I was saying that we have been rejecting this bullish control area, but right now you're holding the 50 twice. You haven't broken out of this yet. It doesn't look half bad, to be completely fair. I want to see, there was one more thing I wanted to see, actually. Hold on. Let's see. Trends downward at least 78% of the time. I would assume that, you know, if you're going with what the normal ones are, you're more likely to get a normal result. So you are trending downwards, so maybe you do get a normal result. You know, it's totally possible. And if you were to go up from here, if you were to break out of this range, you would make a move. You know, you measure it like this. You would make a move basically up to 4 zeros, 1 1, something like that. And if we take a fib, if we were to do a fib anywhere from here to like the last high to bottom, that would put you right at the 0.69, man. That would make sense to me. That would make sense to me, actually, because, you know, I did say earlier that we are rejecting this 382, but if you were to get above it, the next place that you would likely make a move to would be the 618, and it is not uncommon to go wick above the 618 to the 0.69, which is exactly where this pattern breakout would be. You know, maybe Shiba does look good. Maybe it doesn't look so bad. And then ultimately, too, it still could come back lower than this. You know, that would be a move up to there, would still be a lower high all in all. So it could do that in the meantime. You know, this thing can pump dramatically in a week, 40% there, and then come down. It likes to go down systematically. So I don't know what to think of this thing, man. Maybe I am bullish in the short term, honestly. That kind of changes my perspective a little bit. And the RSI is not half bad. Yes, you are having a hard time staying in bullish control, but you're rejecting the bearish control. You actually rejected the bearish control zone here and here, and you're staying above the 50. So that's encouraging. It's definitely encouraging. I would like to see more volume come in on this break to kind of legitimize it, though. And then again, being below the purple line like this, being below the 50 this far away, I would think that whatever move we get above this purple line probably would be given back, if not back through the purple line, at least to it, something like that. So we'll just keep an eye on this thing and see how it goes. But at the moment, I'm going to say maybe it does go up, actually. I'm kind of inclined to believe that. The only thing that would confirm that we're going down, I guess, in my opinion, would be that we break this trend line here. If we break this trend line, then we are clearly breaking out of this ascending triangle to the downside. If you're a pattern trader, you know what that means. You're going to have the same kind of move where you would measure from the bottom of the pattern to the top of it. But instead of putting it at the point of break up here, you'd put it at the point of break down here, and that would mark us for this. And we likely would go lower even. But yeah. And let's see on the 4 hour what else we got here. Not looking good necessarily on the RSI, but you have been flirting with this 50 and you haven't rejected it yet. You are above the 50 and above the purple line. You're hugging it. You kind of have been disrespecting it a little bit, but you're showing, I don't know, man, I kind of like the way this thing looks. Maybe you are due for like a 30 to 40% pump after all. Maybe you've got that in you in the short term. Yeah. Just if you want to validate that, break above these previous areas of resistance. Break above it, stay above it, get above the purple line. I would say even try to get actually to the overbought zone. Don't just like reject the bullish control zone. But man, honestly, before you even get there, I would say if you break these highs, it's likely go time for that 30 to 40% move after all. And it could go higher. It's totally possible that it could go higher. But I would expect that you would find some turbulence relatively around the 0.618 and the 0.69, so somewhere around there, which again would be about 4 zeros and a 10. Is that 4? That is 4 zeros and a 10, or 4 zeros, 1, 1, something like that. So between 10 and 11 there with 4 zeros in front of it, somewhere in there, that's where I would expect you to find resistance. Let's see if we get, before I sign off here, let's get a top. Come here, you, top to bottom. Do we get anything else that lines up in those areas? I mean, deeper extensions. The 2272, hey, 2272 and the 2414. That's been a very popular extension in crypto lately, and especially on a small one like this, a small measure move like this, it would be. It would be likely that you see deeper extensions instead of these shallower ones. So it is possible. It is definitely possible. I like it. I like it for the short term. I know I started the video off with a little bit of pessimism, and it's definitely there. I still think that even if we do go up here, that you could inevitably go below these lows here. But in the short term, I like it. Gotta say, I like it. The only thing that would invalidate that, basically break this higher low structure, show that you are in fact having a double top here. And the way that you'd show that you're having a double top, basically to like confirm that, would be by breaking this ascending trend line that you have right now. Basically invalidating this whole bullish setup that you've got going on. So if that happens, it wouldn't take much. It really wouldn't take much from here. You would just have to go below these prices, which isn't too far away. How much is that? That's it's about a 2.5% away from the current price. So if you were to drop about 3 to 5% on a daily closing basis, I would say your odds are good that you are going to go down, actually, and very likely around this low, if not more likely lower than that low. So that's all I got for you guys. I hope it wasn't too confusing. I know I was kind of all over the place, but it's my first looking at Shiba in a while, so that's what I got, man. That's what I got. If you like the video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.